Hello, this is the intro to my Excel video. Just wanted you to be able to see my face before we get into the faceless part of this, where you're just gonna see Excel and me commenting on the Excel. So here we go. Hello, all of you people. I even put it on the Excel. That was pretty dope. Welcome. We are going to be going over creating an Excel, a bid sheet. Well, yeah, not creating an Excel, but anyways. Well, yeah, an Excel bid sheet. Yeah. All right. So back on track. This is just the very generic, simple, easy version from a compilation of my experience and estimating at multiple different companies using multiple different techniques, and being a subcontractor bidder versus a GC, or subcontractor estimator versus a GC estimator, and different things that we've done. But this is just kind of a good blend, or an easy middle ground for building a bid sheet for someone who is going to be going into freelancing for themselves as an estimator, or someone who is currently working at a company and just needs to see, how to have one built for themselves, or maybe someone who has their own company and they're in construction and need to estimate for themselves. Whatever reasons, this is still pure value. Also, check the description below, and in it'll be what you need to basically be able to get to someone's interview for an estimator position, and then start working at their job as an estimator. To get you from wherever you are right now to that point is what's down there. It is my school community where I have my courses, and you can go and get any of those if you want them. A few of them on using different software. I have my consulting number there where we can go through an hour a week and talk to one another and kind of get you on your path to where you need to go. And then, as well as my website link there, where I also, on top of offering companies help with estimating, have digital products listed there for estimating and getting into it and getting knowledgeable about it. But either way, a bunch of vehicles to get you on your way. All right. Now let's zoom in on the Excel and what's been going on over here. So job A, because it's just, whatever, I decided to put together and kind of think up scope wise, is like the beginning process, right? You get a set of plans in from an invitation to bid, which will come in through your email. You start going through the plans, you see what different scopes that you're going to have to take off. And that would be the process that would happen before I started listing those on the side, on the left hand side of the screen on the Excel. And that would just be different materials that I've picked up on the set of plans. Most of us here have seen a set of plans. If you haven't seen a set of plans, type into Google a set of construction plans and you'll see the set of plans, and you'll be able to raise your hand when I ask that question the next time or whatever. So I just put in a title, and I'm going to continue to put in a few different column titles just to kind of help separate the different columns into what they mean, what they are, what is contained within. So let's see. I'll just go down the list on the left hand column side. So drywall, framing, insulation, normally things that tend to go together. That's kind of why I put those together like that. Then the acoustical grid, which would be like, like ceiling grid, as well as plumbing, electrical, HVAC, stuff that would kind of come down the path kind of later on in the bid, and it's lower in the divisions of labor. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up taking those off and replacing those with ones that could be just easily have a measurement go with it, just to make this process seem a little bit more seamless and more reasonable, because it's hard to just during this process of making these columns, and whenever I get further on into material amounts, I tried to be somewhat realistic about the material amounts. So trying to estimate that for this project off the top of my head, HVAC, electrical, and plumbing is kind of difficult versus something else that's a little bit more simple. But I'll go a little bit more into estimating and what we would do. So normally you'll go through the beginning process of all the plans getting in, like I talked about before, the ITB, the emails, looking through the plans, getting scope together. Then you would put together a bid sheet like this, using a Bluebeam or a Plan Swift to do a takeoff on the plans themselves. And of course, you already know your scopes, so you go look for them, you get them, get the material amounts, and then put that into this sheet and go through, calculate it all, get a grand total with margin and taxes and everything like that, and you put that amount on a proposal. And from that point, you would send that proposal off to the client, who would either accept or not accept that proposal that you sent over to them. So that's kind of running through our process, what it looks like for how and what we do. We sit in an office throughout the week, normally not too much more than 40 hours a week, according to where you work and what you've negotiated for yourself. But it's pretty chill, if I do say so myself, sitting around in some AC and doing this stuff, basically computer-based stuff, whether it's Excel or manipulating Outlook for your emails and calendar, and of course other software like CRMs, customer relationship management software, or files, which is a little bit more simple but pretty much does the same thing. Kind of collects all the information in one place so it's accessible in the future. And you might have to get on a call with a client using Teams, or a more updated and like AI enabled version is called Sybil, which is a meeting software where you meet with clients and then it takes notes for you, versus you have to do it the old fashioned way, and yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do. We are software users for sure. So back to the Excel. I have, as I mentioned earlier, changed out the HVAC, or the MEPs, basically mechanical, electrical, and plumbing section for doors, windows, and roofing. Also added concrete, which is pretty cool. And we are getting into the measurements for things and how much, what unit of measurement you're going to be using to actually measure that section. So square feet for drywall, because you need it's a square or rectangle or however. I mean, it could be whatever different shape, but there's a lineal foot measurement and then a height measurement that goes with that to give you a square footage. For the framing and 2x4s, for a certain lineal foot amount of framing, you can kind of calculate, even though, normally it's like 16 inches on center for the studs as they go up, and then there's blocking in between for, windows and other components of framing. Lots of stuff goes into it, but you can generally get a square or a linear foot cost for that. And that on, Plan Swift, Bluebeam, whatever, would just be a straight line basically. And going across or around the wall, insulation is pretty much the same thing too as kind of like drywall. As in, you need a height amount as well as a linear foot amount, which will give you a square foot amount. And the ceiling tile, acoustical ceiling tile, square footage amount, the same as like if you wanted to do a takeoff for flooring. And concrete, same thing, but it's in cubic yards because that's the measurement that you would get the bags of concrete in. But you can basically do a square footage takeoff by the depth of the concrete, which is also why I went in and started putting in specifics on the left hand side column, but I'll get